For those who are not aware of what manufactured spending is, break down exactly what that is and what are some of the benefits of that.
Oh, so manufactured spending is essentially, I look at, I'm gonna break it to where everybody can understand it. And I'm gonna go to a deeper level with it. I look at it as the equivalent of major couponing, because I don't know if y'all seen the shows back in the day where people would actually go to the grocery store, have all of these coupons, have carts full of groceries, and then all of a sudden they're getting money back from the cashier and they didn't spend anything. So manufactured spending is the artificial spending on your credit card, just like you can have a credit card rewards. Let's just say, for example, you have a Discover credit card, and it may give you 2 to 5% cash back on certain categories. What you can do is actually liquidate this money off of the credit card. So just general concept, you could go into the store, you could buy items or merchandise, and then for whatever reason, you have the right to return it. They have a return policy. And this is where it gets kind of tricky, as like people like, wait, you can really do this? So you can literally purchase it on your credit card and then return it to your debit card. But you have to be very, very, very sure and very, very specific that this is your debit card and your credit card, because you use your social security number to obtain this credit card. You use your social security number to obtain this debit card. And all you're doing is just gaming the credit system. A lot of people have, a gray area. They have different viewpoints on it. But I also go into, if you look into redlining, if you look into predatory lending, all of these things, and the banking industry, these credit unions, these national banks, they care nothing about you. They just care about their bottom line profits. So you can literally go and turn credit to cash through, like I say, artificially spending money in your credit card. And then on a deeper scale, you're able to, get access to this cash in your checking account, but then you're getting rewarded for making the purchases, the artificial purposes. It all started with me whenever like I told you, I had my son, and then I had my second one, and I was like, how am I going to pay $200 a month for Pampers and I only make $575 a week? So I got very creative in the credit space, and I'm like, you know what? I can literally gain reward points to cover the Pampers that I'm having to buy for my son. So that's how everything started with me. And that's just a general breakdown and concept. It gets much deeper than that, but I just don't want to confuse anybody and go too deep down there from that rabbit hole. But it's a very, very creative way to generate income.
And interesting. So I got two follow-ups in regards to that. So how do you manage and organize? So for example, there's a lot of different credit cards, whether that we're talking about, let's say Discover, they have a 5% quarterly rotating category. You have, Amex cards where you might have, 4x points on dining and groceries. How do you sort of organize all of your types of rewards cards, and how cognizant are you when you're at certain places? Like, okay, I know I'm going to use this particular credit card when I, do this sort of category of spending. I think for the Amex Blue Cash Preferred, you get 6% on groceries, but only up to $6,000 for the year. So how do you organize and keep track of how you're leveraging the different credit cards based on the different categories that you can maximize those rewards with?
I have an Excel sheet, and because, just like yourself, I'm very, very cognizant of the industry, and I understand credit card rewards and things like that. But I always know the best card to use. And if you're coming into this space and you're not familiar with, should I use this card at this place? It's an app called MaxRewards. You can connect your app to it, and then what will happen is, I'm pretty sure my brother Credit Plug got an affiliate link for you, but you can literally just connect your cards to your MaxRewards app. And what happens is, depending on your location, it's going to tell you the best credit card to use for the specific purchase. And then have all of the stores around you. If you want to go, if you're at the outlet, or buying different things, or you grabbing something to eat, it'll tell you, hey, you're getting 4% cash back or 4x points whenever you use your Amex Gold card. You're getting 6% cash back, if you're using your Cash Preferred card from American Express. And it will literally organize everything for you if you're not that person who wants to know all of the benefits on each card. But I'm very well aware of what I'm carrying in my wallet with me. So I always have a general, I'm gonna have the what I have in my wallet right now is, of course, the platinum. If I'm going to do any traveling, if I got a large family, so grocery store purchase, I'm going to be either using the blue business cash, right? This is up to 50,000. Once you hit 50,000 on the blue business cash, that you no longer get 2% cash back. You now bump down to 1%. But then you also have a mixture of the gold card or the business gold. So it's different ways too. I don't want to go too deep and get geeked out on it. But MaxRewards will be your best friend whenever you're trying to literally figure out what card you should use for the maximum benefits.
Yeah. So no, the reason why I ask, because, there'd be certain instances where I'm thinking about it, like, let's say I'm at the grocery store, but then I'm fumbling through my wallet trying to find the right credit card. And I remember a couple times, like, I'm like holding up the line. Because, for example, I'll go to Whole Foods and I know that my Blue Cash Preferred will give me 6%, but then I might have another credit card where it's like, all right, it's 2%. And I know for that couple $100, that makes a difference. We're talking about not significant, but $20 to $30 worth of cash back. So I think having a good way to organize it is definitely good. The other follow-up question in regards to the manufacturer spending is something I've also touched on, is sort of like data manufacturing, right? Because let's say, for example, when you're using your cards, right, what certain credit card issuers, like, for example, American Express, they really look at how much you're spending to even determine like what your limits are. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing some type of manufactured spending where you're running a pretty high volume of spend through those cards, that could actually help with increasing your limits, so to speak. You showed kind of your high limits on some of these Amex cards. Could you sort of break down how manufactured spending plays a part when it comes to even data manufacturing, or even just demonstrating to certain credit card issuers and lenders your capacity to spend and repay? Great
question. So with the whole manufactured spending thing, and this is how I did obtain a lot of high spending power with multiple issuers and things. But do you guys ever have a $10,000 credit card or $20,000 credit card, and you're being very responsible with this card? You're spending $2,500 a month, and that's covering your groceries and a few bills that you can kind of pay with the credit card. But you ask for a credit limit increase, and they never give it to you. You got to think the rule of thumb is to max your credit cards out. This is how I was able to do it. You max it out 2 to 3 times within a billing cycle. Now, whenever, depending on if it's 60 days or 6 months, depending on the credit limit increase rules per the issuer, now what you're able to do is justify why you need a credit limit increase. Like I said, you can have a $10,000 credit card, but if you're only spending $2,500 a month, right, you can't convince these issuers that you need access to a $30,000 limit. Yes, they may give you $1,000, $2,000 here or there on the credit limit increase just from responsible borrower behavior. But if you really want to ramp up and get access to a lot of capital, this is essentially how you're going to manipulate the system. So you could go and spend, like, you can spend 30 or 40,000 on the weekend and liquidate it and then pay it off, because that's the sole purpose. On the personal side, how we leverage manufactured spending is that we're going to use these personal cards. We're going to max them out 2 to 3 times a month. And then as soon as the money hit our checking account, we're then going to pay it off. We're only using the manufactured spending in this way to build out limits and actually generate income. Now, when you tap into the business side, this is whenever it gets really, really in depth and really gets, it gets spicy, as I say, because now you're taking the money and then you are pulling it off to go and build other banking relationships. And the reason why you don't do this with a personal credit card is because your utilization is going to report, even if it's, from my conversation the other day, brother, one of the trickiest things that an issuer can put in front of your face is a 0% APR personal credit card. Now you're going to be looked at and frowned upon based on your borrower behavior. How you spend money is that banks have what you call a look back period. So now you've held a high balance on this card for the past 6 months, and then you finally pay it down, and then within 30 days you try to go to another issuer. But whenever they pull your credit, they can actually see your high balances over the course of these months. So you look risky. So that's why I say we leverage manufactured spending on the personal side to say, okay, I'm going to take the money off of the card and just rinse and repeat. And then we're just generating free rewards, whether it's points, whether it's miles, or even cash back. So that's how we pretty much leverage on that personal side.
Absolutely. That's a good point you make about sort of that look back period, because that's exactly what FICO 10 is looking at. It's looking at like trended data over the past 24 months. So even if, let's say, you carried balances on a 0% personal card, yeah, you're going to have that high utilization, but even if you pay it off, it's still looking backwards. 0% personal cards to me seemed overrated because you can't really fully maximize it without also damaging your personal credit. And is also going to put you in a situation like a lot of my clients where they have this high personal utilization, so they can't really get additional personal or additional business credit. It's a little bit of a different way to view it on the business side, because on the business side, you will want to revolve those balances and leverage that capital for the longest amount of time.
Not to cut you off, but I got to put this in there while it's fresh on my brain. Another thing, what happens is you leverage these personal credit cards. Yes, it's 0% APR, but then you max this credit card out, and then the rest of your lineup, whether it's American Express, whether it's Chase, these banks are consistently doing a soft pull on your credit report every single month. So now you go and max out this Wells Fargo 0% interest for 15 months credit card. Now they see that you are high risk. Now they lower your limit on their side. So just be very careful with that.
No, that's a very good point. There's a couple banks that are like that. In fact, I believe on your Experian credit report, or if you go look at the detailed version of it, it actually will tell you the soft inquiries that are happening. And you'd be surprised how many financial institutions are probably soft pulling your credit and you're not aware of. And I think a lot of them do it mostly like for promotional offers and stuff like that. But to your point, I think Barclays is like notorious for this, where they'll lower your limit if, let's say, you get a lot of credit with another bank, or if your utilization goes up and so forth. So